Eric tries one.
Welcome in to Not That Kind of Gooner, an Arsenal podcast. And I'm still coming back from vacation, so I don't have a little line to lead things off with. My head is about as empty as the stadium was for Chelsea against LAFC. So that's where I am right now. We'll chat about the Club World Cup a little bit, along with some transfer window stuff and kind of just generally the state of things for Arsenal Football Club. But welcome in. Thanks for the three of you watching. Thank you for tolerating us taking a week off. And it's good to be back with you. I'm coming back from France, which was nice. I did not go to Nice, so I'm not going to make that joke. But really nice week off. Just kind of exploring different parts of the country, and feeling nice and energized. So we're going to talk about Arsenal as we always do, and we're going to talk about what City and Liverpool are up to. We're going to talk about Spurs. We're going to talk about kind of unrest among the Arsenal faithful. We're going to talk about a couple signings that we have probably made at this point, and we're going to talk about how a couple other signings are probably linked. So we're going to get to all that. But first, I want to introduce our guest for today, which you can see him on screen here. He's back for round two. It is Mr. Curran, who you can follow on Twitter at CurranBOP. Curran, my friend, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Not really much to talk about, but you messaged me early saying that there was not really much going on. So would you want to do something? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? There's not really much going on, so why not?
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like it's where the transfer window is reopened, right? We took that little break for the Club World Cup. Transfer window reopened today, and I feel like we're forcing it a little bit with kind of all the coverage of. I literally saw a tweet today where there's a guy basically saying, I've got an update from the Šeško camp, and nothing has happened, and everyone's like, great update, thank you for that. So it feels like there's kind of you have to keep on like making content and putting stuff out there, but at the same time you're really just kind of circling the wheels a little bit and chatting about the same thing over and over. So we're going to try to avoid doing that today, and I think we'll be largely successful.
Hopefully.
But yeah, hopefully. Speaking of the Club World Cup though, I watched like a game and a half of it so far. I watched El Ahly against Inter Miami, and that's just because my
I messaged you in the
family.
middle again. Didn't remember. I messaged you I was like, "This is they're messing up," and you were like, "This is like the best team in Italy, like by a long way."
Yeah,
and I was just like, "Dude, this is not good. This is not good at all."
That's the quality in the Egyptian league, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else you'd be expecting, to be honest, but like, man, this is that game. I think I told you this. That game, they were trying because Suarez has no legs, so they couldn't like press. They weren't pressing from the front. And have I gone or you gone?
I think that was me. I think I went out. Yeah.
But yeah, as I was saying, like Suarez's legs have gone, so that the actual physical side of things, they can't exactly press from the front. So they're kind of just letting teams walk through them. And then you've got Busquets and Redondo. And Redondo is someone that I think a lot of us liked when he was back in South America. Yeah. And he was touted to move to Europe. And he was like, well, this guy can definitely translate. And you've put him alongside Busquets. And both of them are kind of a little bit similar. They love being on the ball. They're not great in terms of meeting the markers at times. And they're a bit slow. And it's just not. There's just so much space in the middle, and you've got Ali trying to move it through the thirds, and then doing nothing with it. Just very sort of like, okay, what are we doing here? Messi's trying Olympicos from the corner. Like, there's not really much to say here. There's not really much to digest.
That and the Trezeguet penalty miss are probably the only two interesting moments in the game. Yeah, it was crazy because they like you said, Italy just kept on running right through Milan on the counter, or sorry, not Milan, Miami on the
Miami,
counter.
yeah.
And yeah, they created several clear cut chances and then just couldn't finish at all.
Mm.
It's Yeah, the only reason I really watched that is because my family has a bit of an ancestral hatred of Italy. My dad is a fan of like their biggest arch rivals back in Egypt, so um, it was it was mostly just a hate watch for me. But I mean, just kind of big picture. I mean, how do you feel about the Club World Cup? Because for me, like I'm kind of in two minds about it, right? Where one, um, just kind of like purely like as a football enjoyer,
Mm.
it's it's an exciting concept, right? Like you want to see teams from all over the world.
Is it? Is it really an exciting concept?
Well, in theory, like in
I mean,
yeah, in practice,
we all saw the Auckland City score. Like, it's not really like I'd understand if it was a World Cup and you'd like had like qualifying, like if you had like for example qualifiers to get to like the actual World Cup, you have qualifiers over 4 years and you would qualify for it. Maybe there's a theory there, but even so, it's just too many games.
yeah,
But if there was in theory, like as a concept, right? As a concept,
just
if you
purely in a
said
vacuum.
in a vacuum, right? So if purely as a concept, if you say to me, okay, so we're going to have qualifiers from each zone, let's call it, and we're going to, even the thing is, even if you do that with each zone, these are the best teams in that zone. So like you're looking at it as at a point where you're not going to have that. Like Palmeiras are in Copa are a very good team, but when they come in here, they're not going to be anywhere close.
Yeah.
The same with obviously Auckland City, with whatever you want to say with them, or Al Ali or Al Ali. How many times they won the AFC Champions League? I think it's called. You would know better than me. They've
A
successful,
lot.
right?
Yeah, I can look up the exact number, but I mean they're the current champions.
Not even that, but the point is they're the most like recognized and most prestigious side in that competition, right? They're one of the biggest sides. So it's like, even as a concept, to have it even be applicable on a global scale, you'll have to have, like, South America has Brazil, it has Argentina, it has every now and again a Chile side is good, or Uruguay, or something. They have teams that can compete on the world stage. These current on the club stage, they don't have that. Yeah. Like you can't put up Palmeiras against a Man City. You can't put Botafogo up against Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like these is not something that works. As a concept, it doesn't make any sense. If you wanted an actual club World Cup, you take the champions from each of the top 5 leagues, and you take like maybe the Champions League winner, Europa League winner, and the Conference League winner, something like that. Like 8 teams, and they'd all go, that would be the World Cup champions, because that is the best of the best. That's the best, because like say if it's obviously the Europa and Conference League are probably going to be the worst teams in that. Maybe even the Eredivisie team as well, right? From the top 5 leagues, or is it French league? I think is the top 5 leagues now. Yeah, the French team. So Spain, Germany, England, Italy, and France. So those are the top 5 leagues. So it wouldn't be that bad. 5 champions, Champions League winner, Europa League winner, Conference League winner. That would at least be that would be something that you could do, and then have an actual like Champions Cup. But this is just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? There's no like the guy. There was an article on BBC Sport about the guy. There was a guy talking about how he had to take leave for this from his actual job to come and play at the Club World Cup. It's just like, come on. Of course he got battered 10-0. That's just sad. It's not like, what do you want me to do with that? That's like, Elisa's right. Why would you feel sorry for them? This is a waste of a lot of these guys' time. They're not even going to be playing at the top standard of the levels that they could have been playing at because no one gives a crap, and these players are worn out as it is. So the whole concept makes no sense.
It's definitely a waste of the players' time, but it's not, at least in the club's opinions, right? They're getting millions of dollars,
of course,
to participate in this, and this kind of comes to why I have my reservations about this tournament, right? Because I think not only does it really exemplify the imbalance in quality, right? I mean, Bayern Munich 10-0. Chelsea is going to, dog walk some of the teams that they come up against.
I mean, they're playing LAFC today, aren't they? I don't even know if that happened yet or not.
Yeah, they just beat them 2-0, which honestly is lower than I expected, but that's Chelsea for you. But, you have Atletico Madrid and PSG and Manchester City and Real Madrid. These teams are just another stratosphere compared to anybody else who's going to be in this tournament. And, so it just kind of on multiple levels, I think it also produces more imbalance in the game where you have these teams that are already really rich. A couple of them have basically endless budgets for all intents and purposes. And they're going to stroll to the championship to ultimately being the winners of the tournament. And they're going to receive a package that's a little over 100 million for doing that. They don't need that money, and it's just going to give them a bigger advantage over other teams in Europe that are trying to compete with them. And then on the flip side of that, you have teams like Auckland who have won their league the last 3 years. You have teams like Ehli that dominate in Egypt, that dominate in Africa. You have teams in Brazil and in the MLS who are also going to receive, not as much as, $100 million, but they're going to receive, 7 figures, maybe 8 figures for being in the tournament. And that's pretty significant at those levels of the game, right? Ehli's going to come back with, several million in their pocket, and they're going to keep on doing what they always do, which is buy up the best talents in Egypt, even if it's just to put them on their bench. And they're going to just kind of have that extra foothold to establish their dominance over teams like Zamalek and Pyramids FC. And then, there's analogs to this that are going to happen all over the world because these teams were selected to be, in the Club World Cup. So I just think, and then of course, there's a matter of just you're flogging players after an already brutal. I mean, it's 3 straight years of football at this point, if we're being quite honest. So yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, right, ever since 2022-23 started, we had obviously the World Cup winter 22-23, and then we had the rest of the 22-23 season. Then we had a relatively quiet summer. Am I correct? I think I'm correct. I don't think there was anything.
I think so.
Then obviously the 23-24 season, then Euro 2024. And then from Euro 2024, 2020, then we had this last season. So ever since, I would say, the beginning of the 2023 season, there's been one off season.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier, actually. It's strange as I just remembered it. I don't know where this project would it be if the Qatar 22 World Cup didn't happen. If that World Cup doesn't happen and we just keep going, there's no Jesus injury, are we even looking at a 9 now? I very much doubt
Probably
it.
Not. Yeah.
It's just, and it just goes to show what I was saying before. It just that there's been one off season. I hate off season. There's been one summer of no football, which is just mental.
Yeah.
And I was saying earlier as well, because there was a clip from Clive, and I love Clive. And Clive's a great guy. He's very intelligent and he's very articulate at what he says. But he said something about Gyökeres wanting, maybe this is a good transition to Arsenal, but Gyökeres wants to take the 9 and he wants to be the striker, whereas Šeško didn't know whether he could displace Havertz. And for me, I just remember that PSG game, both of them, and looking at a team where we battled that team. We went to war with that team. We didn't just roll over. We went to war with that team. Like people remember the goals and how Dembele obviously struck early and the 2 goals in the second leg. But we were there. We were very close. And when you look at PSG and you see that they have the ability to rest one of Dembele, obviously they're not regularly resting Dembele. He was injured for that second leg. Dembele, Kvara, Doué, Ramos, Barcola. There's 5. 5 of them, right? And if you want to count Kang Lee as well, 6. 6 of them you can rotate in and out of this team. You can go at 70 minutes and go to a bench and be like, okay, Barcola, you come on. And this is not registering with people. People are just constantly going, we need superstars, which we do need superstars. But the point is we need people that understand you're not playing every game. It's not 2006. It's not 2010. You're not playing every game. We're not sending people out on their swords anymore. You need to understand you need to play 20 to 25 league games a season. Everyone. Doesn't matter how big you are. Saka's too. Everyone needs to be understanding that this is not something, a calendar that allows you to stay fit for 11 months of the year without having grave injuries like we had last year. And if Mikel hasn't learned that, then he's going to learn it again this year. He has to learn this lesson. Yeah. You have to rotate. You have to sub players off. You cannot depend on just 1 or 2 guys. And that's why I was a bit like, the comment doesn't make any sense to me, because I don't want someone that's going to want to play every single game. I mean, I want someone that has the mentality to go, I want to do the best I can every week, but I don't want to be having people going like, no, I'm fit. No, you have to understand now, we live in a world where football is constant. There's constant football.
Yeah.
But even now, it's June, there's constant football. And we can't live in this world anymore. There's not a world where you can play every game.
Even United, for the second season in a row, the season ended and they got on a plane to go play preseason games.
You know what the funny thing about that was? I remember. I watched the watch along with Goldbridge for that because I just wanted to see. I can't stand Goldbridge, but I wanted to see like what are the fans saying? Like just out of pure curiosity, what are the fans saying around this? And apparently, the amount of money they made off this, I think it was like 8 million or something. That amount had to be paid to Chelsea because Mason Mount played in a European final.
Is that serious?
I think so. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But I'm pretty sure that was the case. I remember hearing him say that, or like a majority of it, or like a portion of that, which was significant, had to be paid to Chelsea anyway. So they basically went on tour for Chelsea to pay off Chelsea. So
yikes.
And they were very unserious. Like they were constantly like the pictures and video leaking, like Xerxes out getting food at 3 a.m. and this very, very, very strange tour they did there. Garnacho's shouting at people. It was very weird.
It's why they lost.
This is my thing.
Hong Kong 11 or something.
Yeah, Hong Kong All Stars, I think it was, or something like that. But my point is, it's very simple. If you're not able to sit on the bench, you aren't going to be playing. You can't be constantly thinking that you're going to play 50, 60 games a season and think that it's going to work. You're going to get injured, you're going to break down, and then what do we do? Because if you're not out, look at guys like Kivior. Kivior stepped in and he did a decent job because he had a lot of time to build up to that PSG game, the Madrid game. He had minutes to build up because Gabriel went down and he had a couple of weeks to get better in it. But we shouldn't have to give people a couple of weeks to get up to speed. People should constantly be in the loop. And if you're not good enough to be in the loop, you can't be here. And I fear if it's Gyökeres, I fear that it's in 2 years, 3 years' time. I think that there's going to be a conversation where, look, I don't think that he's going to understand whether he can sit on the bench at times or not. I'm not saying it's an attitude problem, but if that's a real concern for him, if that's what Clive said is true, that's not something that's not a good flag for me. I don't like that.
Yeah, right. Well, I think first of all, I agree with the fact that like this is going to become a group effort in years to come.
It has to be. It has to be. Like no club can sustainably go 11 after 11 after 11 after 11 week on week on week. It just can't happen.
I'm hitting. I don't want to see Saka play like more than 3,500 minutes next season. And honestly, 3,500 is really the high end.
No one should be playing that amount of minutes.
Yeah.
Like we look at, like people say, oh, Pep has a small squad. Pep has a small squad because all 17, 18 of them play constantly.
Yeah.
We don't have that. And I know Mikel was trying it. He wanted to try at the beginning of this past season. He was trying to take Saka off a bit earlier. He was trying to manage it a bit more, but obviously the injuries happened and things happened. I think that he had a good intent this year, but he has to realize he hasn't got the numbers. And if he keeps relying on the same people again and again, he's going to keep having the same results. You can't keep doing the same things and expecting different results. It's just not the case. I don't care how strong the squad is. There's going to be more excuses, more mistakes, and you need to learn from these mistakes.
Yeah. And, Saliba, I think, is very much in that boat next season.
Yeah, no, but the club, I think, have identified that.
Yeah.
Like, there's one position I think the club have started to identify because they wanted to be Vita Reese. Yeah. There's been reports about Mosquera. There's been reports about Ribeiro now. I think there is a definite want from the club.
And we've been after Joel Hato for a little while. Although that might be more just related to replacing one of Kivior and Galfiore. But we're just hitting a point where, we're going to play 50 to 60 games a season, and it's only a matter of time before we start qualifying. We probably will qualify for the next Club World Cup, right? So we'll have to go play in that. And we're playing in the Premier League. We're playing in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup and the Champions League. And most of these guys now are stars in their international teams, so they're going to go out and play those minutes. Not to mention next summer you have the World Cup as well.
And that's in America as well. And it's not because I want to crap on America, but the point is those pitches
feel
are not
free,
going to be.
Honestly,
those pitches are. We've known from preseason some of those pitches are. The 4G, whatever it's called, half Astro pitches aren't great, and it's a concern. And I'm always wary of warm weather World Cups, just because it's summer, and I'm just it worries me. That's just a personal thing. It's not like a thing, but it worries me. And after what happened this past World Cup. I'm just because the thing is, I don't give a shit about England anymore. So I just want my guys to get home. That's it for me. Yeah. If England do well, congrats. We'll have a bit of a party, whatever. But outside of that, don't really care. So just as long as everyone comes back safe, that's all I really care about.
Yeah, and I think that's why I get excited about kind of links to. Guys like you said, Mosquera and Alexander Ribeiro, and then we've had links to. I actually wouldn't have minded Leroy Sané, not as the Rodrigo or Williams level signing, right? But as another guy, as another body in the team, I wouldn't have minded as much. I loved the link to Bakayoko the other day. I think he's a really interesting player, but and I think you said this online earlier today. It's about quantity. It's about getting enough players in there who can come in and just take the minutes a little bit. I really hope Arsenal are cognizant of that. And, just kind of thinking about this world that we now live in where, just the football just never stops. It's year round for 3, 4, 5 years at a time. I find myself increasingly disappointed by how short Arsenal let themselves enter this season. So, that's kind of one of the things I want to see this summer, where they not only kind of address I think the top end quality issue that we have in the final third, but also just add a little bit more depth to the squad and just make sure that we're able to protect the real difference makers in the team and make sure that we're not just rolling out Gabriel and Saliba for 55 games a season, or that we're flogging Saka on the right flank, or that we're making Odegaard play, 4,500 minutes every year. These guys have to be protected. So, yeah, I hope that's something that gets done this summer. But speaking of things getting done this summer, I kind of wanted to ask. So, City have at this point officially acquired Cherki, Reinders, and
Yep, they've done that.
Yeah.
Cherki, Reinders.
There's one more.
They're looking at Livramento as well. They've done. Also, they've done Nipan. They've done
Nipan. There's one more that they announced with Cherki and Reinders, but I'm forgetting who it is at the. Aït-Nouri.
Aït-Nouri, yeah.
Yeah. So they've gone and done that. Liverpool have basically wrapped up the Wirtz deal, and I think they're close on Kirkes. They've announced Frimpong. And even Spurs, obviously I don't think Spurs are going to be in the running for the title or anything, but they've gone and hired Thomas Frank, and now they're in conversations reportedly for Brian Mbeumo. So I just kind of want to get your thoughts on like your concern level about kind of the moves that our competitors around us have made, considering, at this point in time, we've only really made a couple signings. We haven't announced anything.
My thing's very simple. I just want a squad that's reasonably close to the final form before preseason. People can do. I'm not too bothered about a City or Liverpool. I just want us to stop selling ourselves short. If we go into a season where you've said to me, okay, so Zubimendi has got a full preseason. Whichever striker we've got has had a full preseason. Maybe the winger has had comes in the middle of the preseason like Zinchenko did. Like he gets a couple of games and he sort of integrates into the squad. That's all I ask. I'm not asking for, so I just want to make sure that we go into this season with no excuses about, this guy hasn't had a full preseason. This guy has come in late. This guy has come in. The guy's done that. We've had to emergency loan this. We've had to do that. We've had to do this. It's nice if you're a City fan, if you're a Liverpool fan, if you're a Spurs fan, or even a United fan with this Cunha deal. Like it's nice for you. Congrats. But honestly, my thing is very simple. Just get the majority of your business done before the preseason starts. If you can get the most of this done with it before preseason, as in the striker as well as Zubimendi, those two are the main ones. If you can get the striker and Zubimendi in, because the winger, for all intents and purposes, should really, we can get by with like Martinelli, and if Trossard stays, those two can kind of let the third winger come in, and Saka obviously can start, and whoever comes in. We're looking at probably a combo winger that play both sides. So and Ethan obviously is there. Like in theory, we have 4 wingers, right? But I don't think Ethan's really a winger, and Trossard is not good in terms of transitions and being able to stretch teams at specific moments. He's good inside the box. He's a good shooter in the clutch at times. He's obviously proven at times that he can't do that as well. The Villa moment, we will remember that kind of thing. But my thing is that if you can get the majority of this squad done and give the majority of the squad a preseason, get going and start on a good foot. We remember last season where it got to the international break and we were already sort of thinking, because the window closed and Sterling came in, it was like, okay, this is okay. But like deep down, we all kind of knew no striker, no X factor that we were promised. Like, it's just not, we're always playing catch up. That's how I felt last season. We always were playing catch up, and we can't do that again if you want to win something this year. So it is what it is. I mean, I just think that if you are whatever decisions you make them quickly. Do not just sit on your hands, because it doesn't look like we're inactive. I had a chat with Alex Moneypenny on the timeline a second ago, and he was like, "Well, we're doing this. Apparently it's a slow win." I said, "Look, mate, it's not. The question isn't that we're inactive. It's the fact is that we want the team to be ready for the beginning of the season. If the team is ready for the beginning of the season, I don't think anyone has a problem, because that's all we asked for. We asked that the manager's given it what he's asked for, and that he's given it in a timely manner so we can work with them to get them on the pitch and get them fit and firing for the season. If we can do that, then that's it. That's all people want, which is why I'm not exactly going crazy. I'm just being very simple in saying that we need players that can rotate minutes, and we need players that can actually stretch teams when we have to play mid blocks. Those are the only things I'm really concerned about, and try and get something to sort out, like some minutes for Saliba off the bench, or maybe a flying left back if you need to get Rodrigo or whoever it is on the left wing, who if they come inside, even that way you can accommodate a Trossard because he can come inside and the winger can fly, or the left back can fly. So whatever you want to do, just get it done in a way that we're not chasing the beginning of the season. We're in a position where we can dictate what we want to do for the season and start off on the right foot instead of going and chasing them. And the other thing is for sales as well, because once you do your business, the people start coming to you because you have players. You have players like a Zinchenko, like maybe even a Trossard if he doesn't extend. You know what I mean? Like these moves can be made later in the window because teams get more and more desperate as the window goes on. I do not want to be one of the teams that are desperate. I want to be the team offering players to teams that are desperate. So that's just where I'm at. I think that's the main thing. I'm not panicked because there's nothing to panic about. What am I going to do? What are you going to do? What is anyone listening to this going to do? What have I got to panic about?
I'm going to tweet about it every single day, every hour, on the hour.
No, I mean, look, there is nothing any of us can do. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you and I and anyone here has no power. Get angry. I go to games. I don't go to games. I tweet about football. I do podcasts sometimes, but I don't feel like it's not 2021 anymore. I don't have the anger in me anymore. I don't care enough because one, the club has given me no reason to indicate that there is going to be a change in how we do business. So why would I get concerned when I know what the pattern is prior to this, and I know how the club operates, which isn't quick. The club is not a quick club. They're not ones that do deals quickly. Even if we do start moving on a player, expect like 3 or 4 bids. Remember the Ben White situation. Remember the Gabriel Jesus situation. We don't do quick bids. Lissandro, even when we didn't even get him, we spent 3 bids. Mudryk, same thing. Multiple bids.
Yeah.
So even when the deals are happening, I don't expect them to be like done. Then never. So even Timber. Do you remember we came out of nowhere with Timber, but even then it still took like time to get it done. Like the initial contact was like, oh wait, it's us. We're negotiating with Timber, and then it was sort of like, well, it's happening, and then eventually it happened. So even the surprises aren't surprised. So I don't know why anyone's panicking, because you should know what's going to happen. It's not going to be quick. So,
I mean, do you think there's any chance that things are a little different because Berta's in now? No.
I think that there's a difference in approach in terms of we have multiple deals in the air, we have multiple targets in the air, but that way that we actually negotiate prices and deals is not going to change because it's not him. He's not the negotiator in terms of prices and financials. Those are the lawyers. Those are the guys like Richard Garlick, Tim Lewis, these kind of guys. That's not going to change. In terms of identification of talent, in terms of how we negotiate, in terms of attracting players and letting players go, that will change. But the actual nuts and bolts of how we do deals, I do not expect to change. Maybe they do, and I'd be very, very happy to see that happen.
Yeah,
but I'm not holding my breath on that front.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like with Berta, like I know the difference. It's it's a change up from Edu, right? Because Edu
Yeah.
was almost infamous, right, for kind of deciding on his plan A's in positions, and then he'd go after them, and then if those fell through, he didn't really know what to do after that.
Yeah.
So I like with Berta that there's multiple deals in the air. He's negotiating with multiple clubs at the same time. He's kind of giving us a little bit of wiggle room, kind of some choices to make. But
like with both forward positions, there's I would say for striker, obviously there's the two Gyökeres, Šeško. That's the most obvious one. But even for left wing, we've had contacts with Leao, we've had contacts with Rodrigo, Nico Williams. It's not like there's one specific target. I think what we've been told about Berta, anyway, we'll see if this is true, but he will keep multiple deals in the air, and then whichever is the most financially and in terms of sporting wise is the best pick, he will pick. Yeah. And he will let deals happen in the background and see what works for him and the club, and then we'll get it done. So if that's the case, that's the case. But again, that means that you're waiting. So I'm not exactly thinking that things are going to happen quickly. I don't expect, for example, if it is Rodrigo, for example, don't expect anything before the Club World Cup ends, which is mid-July, if I'm not mistaken.
So. Yeah.
Or whenever they get eliminated. If they do get eliminated, I doubt they do. But the point is that if as long as Madrid are at the Club World Cup, a Rodrigo deal is not happening. Even if he isn't starting against what was it? Not Al Hilal. Good goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they are negotiating Brahim Diaz's extension, so that's kind of they bought Mastantano, they're renewing Diaz. Goulet's a starter now, according to Alonso. So where is Rodrigo going to fit in? He's not He's not going to play on the left with Vinny and Mbappe there.
Yeah.
So
and even there's it sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory, but even he's not appearing in Real Madrid promotional materials.
No. I did see him in the home kit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I did see him in the home kit. I'll send it to you when we're done here. But I did see him in the home kit. I think maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I did. And they did put out some how can I put it? Some token training pic of him and Alonso doing one-on-one training. I remember seeing that doing the rounds, but that feels very forced. I don't know about you, but that feels like it's oh look, we're keeping him.
Yeah.
Every action you've done shows that he's not going to be one that you're prioritizing. So I don't know. I feel like out of all the left wingers, because that whole thing is really annoying. I don't know about you, but that whole thing has really annoyed me.
I'm really over it.
Because you know what it is? It's the fact that he's so perfect for the role. Yeah. It's so annoying. He's one of the best. I'm not even going to go into it. But he is someone that I thought would be very good for the project. I don't know if it's 100% done because Barca are broke. They always will be broke. And they're not a team which is serious about things. Why would you... my whole thing is you have Rafinha and Yamal. And... why would you want? I don't even know why they want another left winger. Surely a striker. No, am I going crazy here? I don't understand what the whole point.
I'm kind of hoping that they go in for Isak. Honestly, if they have to pull levers, pull levers for Isak. Yeah.
Wouldn't that make much more sense? I don't know. Something about that club. I just don't get the way they do things. You've still got De Jong on the books, for God's sake. Surely that is before anything. His salary needs to be renegotiated, or he needs to be sold. That would be the first thing I do if I was Deco. That would be the first thing. I mean, it's a bit of a tangent, but just bear with me. That is a very, 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 very top priority, I would say, because that whole thing is ridiculous, is a sham, is a farce. And then you've got one of the best wing pairings in world football in Rafinha and Yamal, and Rafinha isn't even a left winger, technically, is he? He's more of a right winger. But him and Flick have gone on great, and they seem to be doing very well. And then you go, okay, so we want another left winger? What is... surely if it was me, if I know Lewandowski's getting old, I would want that would be the main priority. I have the best wing pairing in probably world football, or top 2, top 3. The striker should be the major position, but they want another left winger.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
Do you think there's a chance that they're trying to maybe copy PSG and do like the 3 wingers across the front 3, and like maybe Rafinha is the Dembele and he plays centrally?
I mean, yeah, maybe, but like even then, it's
I
sort of.
I don't love it, but yeah,
I really don't like because I feel like Dembele is more 2-footed, and I feel like Dembele is someone that will spread the pitch a bit more. Like he's someone that will drop into central areas. He'll spread to either wing. I feel like you can teach Rafinha that, but I think Dembele has the skill set that makes that more natural for him. Whereas with Rafinha, it's more like he loves being wide and coming inside. He doesn't have. I don't feel like he has. I mean, I don't watch La Liga often, but when he was at Leeds, he was never really a in and out guy. He was more of an in guy. Maybe that's changed at Barca. I don't really watch Barca like that because I'm not like that anymore. I can't do it anymore. I feel like I've got football like burnout. Not even like burnout from Arsenal, but just like burnout from like watching other leagues. Because I used to watch so many leagues, but now it's just sort of like I'll watch Arsenal and that'll be it. I don't have those shops. The most I do is Brazil Scout. That's the most I'll do. Like if someone sells me a player, I'll do a couple of comms, and then if I really like them, I'll watch a couple of games. That's the most I'll do. But yeah, I think with us anyway, getting back to the actual topic at hand, it doesn't make sense to not sign 2, because as I was saying to before, there's too many minutes on offer to not sign 2 attackers.
Yeah,
and some people even want 3. I don't think 3 is viable unless you sell someone, but 2 is definitely a thing. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was gonna say, I think 3 is possible, but like you said, I mean that probably involves one of Trossard or Martinelli leaving.
Yep.
And I would much rather Trossard goes than Martinelli.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not all that worried about us signing 2 forwards at this point, just because kind of, to kind of loop back around to the City Liverpool thing, those teams have gotten stronger already this season. Mm-hmm. I do think there's something to be said about how vulnerable they would be on the counter, but those teams have added in terms of attacking quality. They've ratcheted up a level. Liverpool has shown a level of intent while also kind of preparing for a future without Van Dijk and Salah. And City have rebuilt their team in 2 windows because they're immune to wasting money. So we're in a position where we have to do something. If we don't sign 2 forwards and 2 good ones, we will get left behind, and we'll be back in that tier with Newcastle, as opposed to competing with City and Liverpool for titles. So I think Arsenal are very cognizant of that. And look, I'm kind of in a similar boat to you in terms of how stressed I'm letting myself be about the market at this point in time. I texted you the other day, and I was like, yeah, I'm so happy to not be on Wi-Fi. Yeah, like I spent the last week going, several hours at a time on airplane mode, and then I'd pop into Twitter, see what happened, then get back to what I was doing. So, I'm really in a space where I'm not letting myself get stressed about it right now because it's June 16th.
Yeah.
But
it's
if
not
they
even
don't,
it's June 16th, and this is the thing. I feel like as I'm going to keep saying it, the preseason thing is the most important thing. But before June 16th, and even after all this time, my main thing, and this is what I pushed back on at the time, is this idea. Just because we haven't won the Prem, and we're all basically disappointed we haven't won the Prem, extremely disappointed. But in the last 2 years, we are no worse than either of those 2 teams. We are no worse. In fact, I would say we are better than both those 2 teams. I just think that in key moments we have shown. I mean, over the 2 seasons, consistently we have accumulated the most points. That's just factual.
Yeah.
So my thing is simple. They have had the legs and the ability to go further than us in key moments. That's it. So to say that we're going to be left behind, I understand where you're coming because of the window they've had. That's where I agree with you. What I don't agree with you on is that I think that we as a club and as a fan base underestimate how good this team is. And I think that because we haven't got enough like talent in the final moments in terms of the injury last year or the specific ways we've fatigued in previous seasons or whatever you want to say, this is a very good team. And unless we decide to be dumb, we're not going to not be in a title race. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
We are definitely going to be in a title race next year. I can say that with 100% of even just with Zubimendi and Kepa. Like we will be in a title race.
Yeah,
even if the windows are closed.
That's why I'm not in this constant mode of despair that a lot of people seem to be in right now, where it's like the world is falling. Because yes, like I do think if we don't do something in this window, it's going to be an issue for us in terms of competing with Liverpool and City.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still have that kind of reflex every time I want to despair, every time I want to be, a little bit pessimistic, where I just think to myself, we have William Saliba, we have Gabriel, we have Bukayo Saka, we have Declan Rice, we have Jurgen Timber and Miles O'Skelly, and we've got some really fucking good players.
And this is where I want us to take a step back, because there's been a lot of pain, and I feel like there's a lot of comments have come through pain rather than through just objective facts. And the objective facts is that we deserve to be where we are. We deserve to be at the top of the table. We deserve to be around the top 2 or 3 teams in the league and around the top 5 teams in Europe. That's where we deserve to be over the past however many years you want to call it, last 3 years, let's call it. This is where we deserve to be. The thing is, and this is where I want us to really take stock on, as you've said it as well, can you get from top 3 in the league, top 5 in Europe, to top 1 in the league and top 1 or 2 in Europe? That's where we're missing, and that's where you need the numbers, because we all saw what that PSG team did, because they had quality off the bench. We do not have that.
Yeah.
Because there have been times when I thought maybe if you start Trossard and then bring fresh Martinelli off the bench, then maybe that would be a thing that you could try. We tried that and it still hasn't really clicked. We've tried taking Saka off for Ethan, and then Saka got injured and Ethan then got injured, and it's just like we need more. It needs to be more. There needs to it's that simple. You can't play Marino at striker. You can't play guys that don't know the position to play striker. You're a top club. You're meant to be in a title race. You cannot do that. It's embarrassing. Like, we loved it at the time, and I'm still very impressed with Marino and how he did, but it's embarrassing. Deep down, we all knew it was embarrassing. Was it not?
No, I mean, I was just going to say, like, I was really uneasy going into the season with two recognized center forward options.
Yeah.
That felt so weird to me.
Like, we sold Eddie and didn't replace him.
Yeah. And if you want to sell Eddie, that's fine, right? But
I implored you to sell Eddie. It was the right time to sell Eddie.
Yeah. But like, just, when I first started watching Arsenal games, we had strikers for days.
Yeah.
We had Thierry Henry, and we had Van Persie, and we had Adebayor, and Ali Adair, even if he wasn't great. But my point is, we had at least 3 options in terms of center forward. And to suddenly move away from that, I felt like that was gonna bite us in the ass, and it did. It's all about the numbers. And like even looking at Liverpool, right, where you have Salah and you have Gakpo and you have whoever they decided to play at center forward. Were they playing Gakpo at center forward, actually?
Jota, they have Darwin, obviously.
Diaz
at times.
Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott, yeah. Look, my thing is simple. In the 4-4-2 Wenger era, when we won titles, we had 4 strikers. 4, right? Bergkamp, Wiltord, Henry, Anelka. 4 strikers. And obviously those for 2 positions, we had 4 strikers. But remember, that was early 2000s when there wasn't 60 games a year.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the thing is, we do have, and my thing is, another thing is we do have a lot of young strikers at the club. We have Harry Menanous, who looks decent. There's going to be players like, even Ethan has played 9 a lot. If you want to do that whole 4-4-2, that 4-2-4 situation where we have kind of the 2 double false 9s, if you want to play, for example, Havertz and Ethan together, or you want to play, I don't know, whoever the 9 is with Ødegaard together, Havertz and Ødegaard, and have the 2 wingers, you could do that as well. Because a lot of teams are trying to figure out systems in where you can sort of either try to overload the back line or underload the back line, where you can basically having to dislodge the back line because everyone's trying to press so high and the line is so high. So if you have basically players drug forward, so say your front 2 drag the 2 centre backs. It's going to be weird if you're listening on audio, but just close your eyes and listen. If you have the 2 strikers on the 2 centre backs and they drag them into their own half, wingers can make runs in behind, and then you can go over the top, like we did against Liverpool, 23-24. Like we had the Saka goal for Havertz when he had that 1-on-1 miss and Saka got the tap in. You drag the line up, you try to shuffle them around, you play in behind, and that's where you can kind of play that 4-2-4 sort of role. But for that, you need 4 strikers minimum, or you need 4 / like maybe 2 attacking mids with 2 strikers. And we had 1 striker and 2 attacking mids at the time. So Vieira and Ødegaard, and then we had Kai, and then maybe Eddie. We didn't know if he was available, wasn't really playing. So
that's why I don't really buy this whole thing of Šeško being worried about taking Havertz's place, because those 2 will play together many times.
Yes,
if Šeško, like, you know, I can imagine Havertz playing.
I feel like it's a media thing. I don't think that, because why would the contents of a meeting be leaked like that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
to me anyway. If you're negotiating with a player and he goes, okay, I'm not sure about this, you don't leak that he's like, oh, he's not sure about starting. That sounds like a very weird thing to do. I don't know. For me, that just sounded like something that was sort of manufactured. But maybe that's because
I lose trust.
You never know. I'm not saying I'm not biased. We all have our biases, but I just feel like that was a very weird move to do.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I never really buy into these whole like psychoanalytic takes on players that we haven't signed yet.
No, I don't get psychoanalysis on football at all, because you're given what you're given. You don't have any access to these players.
Yeah,
you have no access to players. You just from a purely medical point of view. To do a history, you need to take a history. To provide a diagnosis for something, you need to take a history. You need to get labs. You need to make sure that you have any imaging you can take. You need multiple things. We have none of that. We have what the media gives us. You don't know these players. You don't know the team. I don't know how people have forgotten. Like, everyone quotes All or Nothing. They quote the phase shit all the time. But everyone always forgets that scene, the Newcastle scene, where he says, I will take the shit. I will take the shit. Yeah. He protects the players constantly. And people constantly get on his ass for comments in the media when he knows that he's just drawing attention to himself instead of letting the players take the blame.
Dude, Kern, I get into so many fights with people about this because people come out of the woodwork to call Arteta, you know, like a prick and arrogant and yada yada. Yeah. And it's like, he's just saying what he needs to say so that you're not abusing Ødegaard or Saka or whoever in the media after a bad result.
he literally I don't know how, but this hasn't clocked. He told you what he does.
Yeah.
He told you what he does. He told you he makes it. After PSG, the players were in tears. He went out and tried to make it about him and make it about PSG telling him that we were better than them. No one talked about the players. No one talked about Saka's open goal. No one talked about the missed chances, the lack of striker. Everyone was talking about how arrogant is this guy. Luis Enrique laughed at him for saying what he said. He's just an arrogant arsehole. Yes, well done.
Yeah,
you've fallen for it.
Hook, line, and sinker.
What he's told you. It's just like, I don't understand. Like, when it's Pep, because Pep wins. It's he's jovial, he's joking with the media because Pep wins. Because Arteta hasn't won, it's an issue. Yeah. So it's very simple. Like I've just quoted someone saying, there's the phase of the project has gone political. What do you mean? The thing about Osama is this phase of the project has gone political. Arteta has to find players to buy because of the excuses he made last season. Otherwise, even if the players wouldn't significantly improve his squad. So you're saying, and he's put like a bunch of quotes that Mikel on Alexander Isak, that a ball arrived to him and he had one of the big chances. That's what you have when you have real quality up front. And he's put no excuses, no more excuses, no more excuses, no more excuses. And it's like, brother, can you not see that he's crying for a striker? He's been crying out for a striker. Like, how can you say that it's anything but using the media to try and get a striker? And these are all tweets from Jan 7, June 12th, Jan 2024, 40 goals in the team 2022. Like, these are all quotes from like either when we've needed to get a striker or just before we got a striker. Like, how can you not see? Like, I don't know. How can you not see what he's trying to do?
Yeah. No, I take a lot of issue with people because I've seen this a little bit recently where people are kind of responding to that idea that Arteta has been crying out for a striker with, oh, well, we haven't bid for anyone yet. And it's like, okay, well, I think people misunderstand what the job of a manager is, where he's involved in identifying the talent, and he'll pop in with a phone call if need be to kind of get the player on side. But that guy's not in the boardroom.
He's not even responsible for identifying the talent, right? Players are being tossed to him constantly.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's players that he likes. Like, I don't think... Like, he obviously likes Havertz a lot. He liked Odegaard a lot. But I don't think he was given... It was like, buy me Sambi Lokonga. You know what I mean? I don't think that was something that happened. I don't think someone was like, okay, he went to someone and said, let's buy Fabio Vieira. I don't think
I don't think he's involved in identifying every single player.
My point is, I get what you're saying, but my point is, what I'm saying is that it's a collaborative effort. Yes. And that this whole notion that he's somehow sort of wholly responsible for every transfer move that Arsenal have made. Well, he bought them. The club bought them. It's a collaborative effort. If you want to get at the recruitment, get at recruitment. Get at Mikel and the guys like Tim Lewis, Richard Garlick, Edu before now, Berta. Like, get the whole team.
That's part of the reason why we're not exactly the fastest operators in the transfer market, because it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Because, Arteta can say, I want so-and-so player, but then, Tim Lewis has to be okay with how much we pay in terms of a transfer fee, and Richard Garlick has to be okay with what we do in terms of wages, and then Berta has to go establish connection with the club and kind of talk them into a wage or into a transfer fee that we like, and then he's gonna negotiate, or not him specifically, but we have to go negotiate image rights and kind of the time scale of when we pay the transfer fee, and the players' wages, and this thing and that thing. There are so many aspects to a deal that I think people really take for granted how complex it can get. And, that's why when United go and sign players like in 3 days, that's a red flag to me.
Yes.
Because that means they walked into a room and slammed down way too much money on the table and said, we'll pay you 20 million over the odds in 2 years less than we should be paying this to you. But we would like your player now, please. And that's why they're in the hole that they're in. So I really want people to operate with a little bit more nuance when they think about how transfers work. And that's not contradictory to the idea that we need to get things wrapped up mostly before the preseason, barring like a Rodrigo-esque situation where we're really just kind of waiting on him and the club. But these are really complex deals with a lot of facets to them. And, like we're all too aware, there's like a dozen guys with input on all these deals. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but yeah, I wish people also would stop leveling the blame with Arteta. Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's something that he's willing to take the blame for. But yeah, although there was that one press conference like 3-ish months ago where someone basically said you didn't sign a player in January, and he was like, I did. Yeah. Then he made that face. Before we get out of here, because I see that we're at the hour mark, I just kind of want to ask you, how do you feel about probably the two players that we have just about gotten over the line so far in Zubimendi and Kepa?
Okay, so let's start with the one that everyone's going to start on, and I don't care about Kepa. I wish I cared. You can try and make me angry. You can try and get me to care. I do not care. I hope he beefs Arteta in the Carabao Cup final. I hope he does something like that. I hope something happens. Like, get some drama in. I don't give a crap. But like, he was decent at Bournemouth. Why should I care that he's about a second keeper? The only reason people do care is that Garcia looked great, and I also agree Garcia looked great. But again, you're bringing in this is the first goalkeeper signing since Ramsdale, where it's been like, not even since Ramsdale, since Leno, where it's been like, okay, so he's coming in and it's not going to disrupt the whole goalkeeper situation. Like, that's never been a thing. Like, Ramsdale came in to take Leno's spot. Raya came in to take Ramsdale's spot. I can't remember if Leno came in. When Leno came in, he was pretty much the number one. And then obviously Martinez came in. They had that whole thing. And then obviously Leno took over. And then Ramsdale got signed. So this is an undramatic signing. The only reason it's dramatic is because we've signed him from Chelsea and he's Kepa and his arms are short. It's the only reason why anyone cares. I want to care. I do not. Like, if I had the ability to get angry over Kepa, I would love to. Genuinely, it's funny as shit. It's a very funny signing. I want to get mad at it. I can't. It's 5 mil. Like, it's very undramatic. As for Zubimendi, look, this is something that I will gladly eat crow on, because when we initially linked 2023, I remember I had a Wisecout account. I thought, you know what, this guy is. Do you know Billy Carpenter?
Yeah. Love his stuff.
He made an infographic where it was like top jewelers in the top 5 leagues, and Zubimendi was like 4th. So I was like, this guy looks interesting. I'll give him a watch on Wisecout. And I did not like him at all. I did not like him. I did not like how he went into tackles early. I didn't like how he could be kind of pushed off the ball at times. There was a lot of things where I was like there's good in possession stuff, but could he just be like Jorginho-esque, but just a bit more physical? But this past year, since that Euros final, fair enough. There's definitely a player there, and it solves one of the biggest issues we have, which is the mid-block solver. I feel like he's someone that can dictate tempo without being Partey. without trying to be a cone in midfield, someone that will just overhit passes and do Partey things. He'll actually take care of the ball, can take care of tempo, and actually get us up through the thirds, and doesn't decide to leave the whole edge of the bloody box open like Partey does. I don't know what happened to him this year, but he has this thing where it was like, okay, we're defending in a low block. we're defending. I'm going to drop into the centre backs, and I'm not going to defend. I'm not going to move out to the edge of the area. And it cost us a City win, and it cost us a goal against Chelsea. I'm sure it's cost us more times. But those are the two off the top of my head, and it's just like that's 4 points alone. Those 2 goals, 4 points alone, right? So, and obviously that you can't obviously say that obviously different things could happen. You can't blame it on one player. Obviously, everyone could have got better, but those 2 moments are just emblematic of things that have gone wrong with him. And I don't want to spend too much time on Partey because he's going to get me annoyed again, and I don't want to speak about him because it just pisses me off. But with Zubimendi, hopefully I don't have to see him anymore. I do not want to see his face. I just don't want to see his face anymore. I just don't want to see him around. I don't want to see his fans. I don't want to see anything to do with him. If you want to stay an extra year, stay an extra year. Just go. The minute you go, I'm telling you, I'm going to the Emirates. When it's announced that he's gone, like, flame it all you want. I genuinely do not care. I'm going to go to the Emirates with a bottle of champagne and just have those steps by the stairs, where the tube from Arsenal. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to have a bottle of champagne, and I'm just going to sit there and relax because he will finally have left my football club. Because I'm just so done. And if there's someone that is able to take minutes off him and not have him start minutes, great. I'll take it every day of the week.
I might join you on those steps.
More than Mario.
Yeah, no, I'm so with Kepa, right? I really don't have the energy for the whole like, we signed him from Chelsea, he's bad thing.
I'm not 15 anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can, like, he evidently had a good season at Bournemouth. I don't care how you chop it up. He did have a good season at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And he's coming in to be a bridge from Raya to the Setfords and the Porters of the world that are coming through. Hopefully we'll get loans. Hopefully Carl Hein will be sold. And then you can start to create a pathway for a Setford or a Porter or one of these guys that have been signed. Because apparently Setford himself is like he's very, very highly rated by the club. So let's see. I think that hopefully
he might go on loan this next season. Actually,
hopefully, I really hope they do. Both of them. Yeah. I think both of them deserve loans. I think maybe Porter stakes around is the third keeper, and then Setford goes out. I think that would probably be the better, more conservative way of thinking because Porter's obviously a bit younger and will be. That is right. Porter's the younger one, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And Porter's like 16, 17.
And Setford's the one from Ajax. So
there's that other one. I keep on wanting to call him Nipan, but it's a similar name.
Nygaard.
Nygaard. Yeah.
He'll probably go on loan, I reckon.
Probably. Yeah.
But
with Kepa, like I get it. Like Willian was terrible, Sterling was awful. I think David Luiz was fine.
Willian had an actual role though. You know what I mean? Willian was meant to have like come in and do an actual job. Like he had a sincere job. Sterling was meant to have the job of being the Saka rotation.
Yeah,
Kepa's the second goalkeeper. There is not a real. You know what I mean? He will not start in the Prem. Maybe one or two games.
That's why I don't have the energy to get upset about it because, and first of all, way better than Neto, right?
Yeah.
Like when we signed Neto, like again, it was backup goalkeeper, so I just didn't have the energy for it. But when we signed Neto, I was like, I don't know what that guy's going to do if he has to play, right? At least with Kepa, you have a guy who has produced pretty well at the Premier League level. He's good on the ball. Yes, he's prone to a bozo moment, but what second string goalkeeper is or isn't, and I think a lot of people were still married to this Joan Garcia idea.
I really like him.
Yeah. He's excellent, and he's going to be one of the best keepers in the world. But in terms of bringing that guy on to sit on the bench behind Raya, that train sailed.
Yeah, if it was going to happen, it would happen last year, I reckon. Like I would blame Edu more than anyone else with that deal, genuinely. So.
Yeah. But after this season, like he's just too good, and there's too many teams interested in him. That guy was not going to go sit on the bench. So I'm fine with the Kepa deal. Honestly, I think it's pretty savvy, all things considered, as long as his salary isn't crazy. And then with Zubimendi, I mean, I echo everything you said, where I think maybe a year and a half ago, I wasn't a big fan of him. I wanted kind of like a more physically robust 6 to back up Rice, but obviously things have changed since then. And, I really like having him come in and dictate the tempo. I love that he's like a 1-touch, 2-touch passer, right? Before, as opposed to Partey, who likes to just stand on the ball for 13 seconds before he does anything with it. Also, that little burst he's developed when carrying, really love that. Really, really, really big fan of that. And he seems to have, some leadership qualities. I remember they're playing Portugal. Yeah, when they were playing Portugal in the Nations League final, there was that big bust up near the end, and like he pulled one player away from the fight and kept him out of it. And then I think it was Bruno Fernandes charged at him, basically trying to throw gasoline on the fire, and Zubimendi de-escalated all that. So it's a small thing, but I just kind of liked that little bit of calmness that he had. Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's going to be fantastic for us. And, like you said, it solves the mid-block issue. It makes us less of a lethargic team on the ball that's easy to defend against. So we'll see what happens. I think those are both really good signings. Obviously, we need to do more, but I think in terms of where we are in the summer, it's not a bad start at all. So
not at all. Just get it done before preseason. I don't think I can emphasize that enough. Whatever you're going to do, just get the majority done. If you wanted to have maybe 1 or potentially 2 signings after preseason starts, then fair enough. But outside of that, do not rely on trying to get teams ready. Like, remember the Marino situation with Gabriel. Like, you don't want to rush players in, and then obviously that's a freak accident, so you can't really say that. But the point is that you don't really have much time to pivot when one of your signings goes and it's mid-August already, and you're still struggling to think of an attacker to bring in. Like, it's not ideal, is it?
No, it's really dicey. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
I'm just trying to enjoy my summer a little bit before I have to start worrying about this shit in a couple weeks. So
I get you. I get you 100%. I get you.
Yeah. So, go on your vacations, everybody.
No. Tweet. That's the main thing. All right.
Every
Do
single
not let up. Tweet. Okay. Someone will hear you. Someone. It won't be me. It won't be Sham, and it won't be the club. But someone will hear you and get annoyed. So keep going.
I can't do it.
I know about
that.
It's
yeah.
Just.
But yeah, I think that's how I know I'm getting old. I just, yeah.
Same here, buddy.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and leave it there. But thank you for.
No. It's a pleasure always.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it was last minute. Thank you so much for kind of coming on and covering. Obviously,
couldn't let you go solo, could I?
What?
Couldn't let you go solo, could I?
No. I was really considering it. You have to keep the content going. But yeah, folks, that was Curran, the excellent Curran at Curran BOP, and I'm Sham at Shamsdale on Twitter and on Blue Sky. You can follow the pod at This Week Arsenal on Blue Sky and Twitter, and you can follow us on Instagram at. What did I say was the handle for Blue Sky and Twitter? Not that Gooner at Blue Sky and Twitter. Sorry, like I said. Nice. Head's a little empty. You can follow us at Not That Kind of Gooner on Instagram and YouTube, and subscribe on YouTube, please. And if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do leave a 5-star review. Really does help get the pod out there. And yeah, we will be back later this week. We've got a few more guests coming on. We'll see if they stack up to how great Curran is. That's
they will. They will. Don't be silly. Come on.
We'll see.
Tune into the next one. Tune into the next one, all right? Don't think you've got everything, okay? You've got much more coming.
Yeah. So stick around for that. And yeah, we're gonna keep the content going. I'm back from vacation, so We're back. We're back in the flow state. So stick around for that. And thank you so much for being here. So we will talk again soon. And you will hear from us again soon. But until then, take care. And bye. Bye.